What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Welcome, everybody. Dan, Hal, it's great to see you. I hope you both had an excellent weekend. To those of you joining us over on the YouTube simulcast, welcome. It's great to have you. We're going to get started with today's Profits at Noon session in just a minute here. We have opened up the room just a minute early to let everybody get in, get settled. Excellent. As always, we will make some time for Q&A today, so if you have any questions throughout the session, please feel free to fire away in the chat, and we'll address those in the order they're received. So we'll make sure everyone is taken care of, so don't hesitate to reach out there. There's no such thing as a dumb question. We're always happy to discuss with you. So I see we are at noon on the hour. We're going to give some of our regular crew just another minute to get in here and get a good seat, but then we are going to get started. Excellent. And just a quick note to those of you joining us on YouTube, if you check the description under that video, there is a link to join us here within the Zoom sessions directly. One quick thing I'll do is I'll just adjust this view so we take up as least amount of screen real estate as possible. There we go, one at a time with the talking heads. Awesome, so we're about to hit a minute after the hour. We're going to go ahead and start firing things up. We'll let the other guys trickle in as we get going. So to everyone who has joined us, my name is Nate. Welcome to today's session. This is Ninjacators' new weekly live event called Profits at Noon. We are live 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursdays at noon Eastern Time. Co-hosting these sessions with me is our very own Richard Krugel, who will be taking the reins in just a minute. He's going to show you all the levels that we are stalking for entry this week, and we're going to steer you clear of any market traps, news bombs, or surprises that could be waiting around the corner. So that means in addition to all the great live analysis you're going to see in the levels that you can stalk and copy with us, you'll get to see all of this analysis, all of these trades play out. You'll get to see it in action. So we do encourage you to join us for the follow-up events. As I mentioned, 3 days a week. Coming up this Wednesday, I'll make a quick note. We do have a very special guest. Our good friend Will Busby of Pure Financial Academy will be joining us on Wednesday. He'll be doing some analysis as well. So if any of you had joined us just a couple weeks ago, Will jumped into a session. He and Richard had a pretty good time comparing some notes, and their analysis actually was very synergistic. So it was very cool to see. So definitely stick around, come see us Wednesday. But let's go ahead and get today's session started. So Richard, I'm going to go ahead and pass the reins to you, and I'm going to jump back in and check on any Q&A before we wrap up, but I'll get out of your hair and let you get this session started.
Awesome. Thanks, Nathan. And hello, everyone. Hope you all had a great weekend. Welcome back to today's session. All right. I'm just going to disappear off screen as always for the analysis part of things. Hopefully you can see my screen all right. As always, just a quick disclaimer. All information in today's session is provided for educational purposes only. And it's not an offer or recommendation to trade futures, stocks, options, or Forex. Right, as always, we're going to be looking at the ES, the NASDAQ, the WIME, Russell, gold, and crude oil. But before we do that, I'm just going to take note that we've kicked off earnings season, or the first quarter. I got big companies reporting this week. We got Charles Schwab today. Just not sure if that was before market or after market close. Tomorrow, the notable one would be Johnson & Johnson, Bank of America, Netflix, the big one, Boeing as well, Goldman Sachs. And then on Wednesday, we got Tesla, Johnson & Johnson. Those just at the top of my head, the big ones for this week. So that could potentially, I don't know, either provide fuel to this upward trend that we've been seeing in the indices, or potentially cause a little bit of a decline. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that. Who knows what they're going to be reporting? Are they all going to be bad or good? Or maybe it's a non-event and nothing really happens. We've also seen that happen before. So, yeah, that's the most notable big companies reporting this week. Then on Thursday, we got the unemployment claims at 8:30 a.m. EST, and on Friday, flash manufacturing PMI. So relatively quiet on the economic calendar this week. So, yeah, that being said, let's just take note that there are big companies reporting this week, and that could potentially cause some increased volatility. Right, first things first, ES. Same thing as last week. Again, looking at a 4-hour chart, we've been mentioning that price has been either tracing out a leading diagonal. That's still my operating bias at the moment. Did a bit of market geometry on here for you guys. We've seen that previously in the beginning of April. Price reached an upper channel, pulled back, sort of been fluctuating above and below the center channel line. And just when was this last week? Just top of this previous high, and we had a little bit of a pullback. So that first drop to the downside potentially kick off a slightly deeper correction, if possible. Maybe this was an A, maybe a B, with a C to follow. Maybe price will make it all the way back here to this low channel line. Again, we might have to wait and see how this week plays out when these earning figures start rolling in. But in any case, today price has been a little bit above today's pivot point of 4,166.25. Just closed below it on the previous candle. The current candle potentially heading towards S1 at 4,143. And if that gets broken, then potentially could see price head towards today's projected range low at 4,129. Whether that happens today or not remains to be seen. Maybe the market's just a little bit sort of hanging back to see what these earnings reports might reveal, especially from the big companies, right? That being said, before I go over to the NQ, we also had in the back of my mind the potential that this could also be a corrective structure, right? So that is still sort of something that might play out. But again, I'm working under the presumption that we are dealing with, or potentially have seen the end of the first leading diagonal wave. If this is the case, we would expect some sort of correction at some stage that will find support at some stage and then see another strong move back to the upside. So as we play things on the intraday scale or time frame here, we'll just have to keep an eye on these levels to lock. It does look like price is sort of trying to move towards yes, it was at Friday's sort of close, and sort of where S1 is at 4,143. So I'm expecting a little bit of weakness, potentially this being that first 5 sequence to the upside with potential a deeper correction to follow. Before I look at the NQ, something else I'm seeing from this sort of area over here is that it does look like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, very overlapping sort of structure. Let me just see this line that I drew in. It's parallel with these channel lines and the center channel line. And we can also see that price is within a sort of a channel, or traced out within a channel in this sequence to the upside here. So 5-wave sequence. So it is expected to some degree to see potentially a deeper correction. If price were to fail today at S, well, not fail, but let's say trade below S1, and we'll have to see on Wednesday where price is again, and potentially break this channel line that I've just drawn in here, then I think there's a decent chance that price could revisit this lower channel. All right, again, we'll update that on Wednesday and see where the markets are trading in relation to all our levels and our market geometry. All right, NQ's been very messy, sideways. Yeah, did we see an A, a B, a C over here? Also very overlapping in nature. Maybe, I don't know, it doesn't really look like any triangle formation at the moment. One thing is for sure that price has been testing this lower median line of this pitchfork that I sloped upwards using the 3 most prominent anchor points prior to the strong move to the upside. And it just hit it again. So not uncommon to see price overthrow or undershoot some areas of market geometry, but quite often when they do, they sort of get or meet the same sort of angular lines, just as I did over there, where price previously in this case undershot or underthrown an area of market geometry. So price just reached S1, that label's behind that price label at the moment. It's around 13,087.25. I think if price were to break, close below and then break this line, which is currently lying at 13,068 plus minus, then we might also get that deeper correction that I've been talking about. Again, don't know if the market's got enough legs today really to fall that far. But anyways, we got today's projected range flow at 13,003. All right, then the YM, this move beautifully touched the upper red warning line of this pitchfork that I've had on my chart for a while as well. Again, using the 3 most prominent anchor points prior to the strong move to the upside. We previously had an instance where price nearly reached this warning line, fell back all the way to angular support, which was in this case an upper median line, and it's reached it once, and one was this last week Friday, I believe, and then we've also seen that small decline. So again, on the YM, also been very strong to the upside. Are we now going to get a deeper correction, potentially seeing that first move lower? Maybe this was a lower high, and then we could see a return back to this median line, which has acted as support a few times now already. Today's S1 is 33,890, and then we also have a projected range low at 33,700 and what's it, 86. Again, price is bouncing or testing this upper median line over here. Whether that will break or not, just keep an eye on that. Maybe if you want to replicate these market geometry tools, in this case a pitchfork, then just see how price reacts. If it does close on a 4-hour below that line, I think there's a decent chance that we could see S1 reached again at 33,890. Russell, like I mentioned before, not my favorite market at the moment. Extremely messy, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. From a price, how can I say, structures perspective, extremely messy, difficult to make, heads or tails of what's going on here. But previously used these 3 anchor points. We've seen price dancing around the low median line, upper median line. Again, instances where it undershot and overthrown these areas. Sort of try to make it above it on Friday again, and then again a sharp drop down to the downside. So anyone's guess where Russell is going. For me personally, I only get interested in Russell again if price were to sort of either strongly break and close, but potentially on the daily above or below this one hell of a range it's been in. Very, very messy range. So again, not one of the markets I'm really interested in trading at the moment. Gold, we finally had that decline that we've been sort of thinking could happen. The only question was the other day was whether price actually ended in a 5th wave here or in a 5th wave here. Now, this 5th wave is only taking this sequence or phase into account that started at the end of Feb, potentially being a 1, a 2, a 3, and then a beautiful 4th wave that traced out as a triangle. And I was saying that be careful, there's typically the penultimate correction within a phase, again only taking into account this phase we're seeing over here, not the bigger picture. But then again, price made a high, moved low, and made another high, and it is clear to see that it did so in some sort of a 3rd wave sequence. All right, so that's a little bit, I wouldn't say confusing, but this begs the question whether this is maybe still part of a very nasty, ugly looking and complicated correction. And what I mean by that, if you have to switch here to the daily time frame, you see how a triangle was actually part of a larger correction. In this case, we've seen a expanded flat trace out, one that took good almost, what was it, 2 years, almost a year and something bit to materialize and potentially end, and then that set off this massive move to the upside. So still very bullish on gold. The question is now trying to figure out what's going on here on the shorter time frames. So there could be a case that we're seeing something similar to what happened here, this entire move here, but in a smaller scale, where this triangle was actually part of a correction. Because this 3-wave move to the upside here is what's throwing me off a little bit. And what I'm seeing here is that it could potentially mean that gold could make a slightly lower move still. It already reached S1 today at 1,995. That's also sort of where our projected range low for the day was, slightly lower at 1995. So could potentially act as support for the time being, but could also potentially pull all the way back to this lower channel line where we also have today's projected lower deviation at 1981. Now, whether this happens today or tomorrow remains to be seen, but I do think if you see a break below there, then we could potentially be dealing already with this correction we've been waiting for a while that might result in a deeper pullback. All right, then we got crude oil. On crude oil, I was also saying we potentially had a 1, a 2. Now there was a little bit of, how can I say, not confusion, because we'll never know for sure, whether this was a third wave, whether this was a fourth wave, and that a fifth wave. All right. But we did move things around a bit, thinking that this was potentially the third wave. Maybe we're now dealing with this fourth wave move to the downside, and then get a fifth wave at a later stage. So on crude oil, I'm also still bullish at the moment. This gap that we have also here in crude oil might also be something that might get filled. I see price almost reached the sort of upper end of that, or sorry, yeah, the upper end of where that gap occurred. Again, sort of overshot this upper median line and starting making its way lower again. It does look like it could be also some sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave sequence on a smaller scale. Price just broke below this upper channel line, already reached S2 at, what was that, 81.07. That already reached our projected range low today at 80.88. And then we also have a very close proximity, today's projected low deviation 1 and low deviation 2 at 80.50 and 80.10. So again, a matter of watching what price does. If it closes below here, I think we could see an extension to the downside to potentially take out this low that was set last week, I believe it was, on the 11th. So yeah, that's my view on crude oil. Still bullish in the bigger picture. Again, at some stage, we were saying when we first looked at crude oil, I think it was around about here when we started the profits at noon session, that we were expecting a further decline. Now that did happen, but sort of price just in the middle of nowhere here, basically halted, and we had this very strong move back to the upside, also partially helped by the Saudis that decided to, reduce production. So gave us this gap to the upside. Are we going to see more downside? I do think that we could, over the short term, see more downside, but I'm going to treat it as a fourth wave correction. So, yeah, potentially even filling this gap to the downside over here. So really not too much to report today, guys. We're definitely going to have to, obviously we're going to look at things again on Wednesday and see if any, the earning reports that's released by then will have any sort of dramatic effect on the indices at all. So we'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, if you guys got any questions about today's analysis, then please let me know.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Richard, for the insights, for the analysis, as always. Very appreciative to see the market through your eyes. But yeah, as Richard said, to everyone who's here with us, whether you're in Zoom or you're over on the simulcast on YouTube, please feel free to fire away in the chat if you had any questions about getting us set up for the week here and what to expect maybe in some of these upcoming sessions. Yeah, fire away if you have anything for Richard or myself. And
so also we'll, like Nathan said, we'll have Will with us on Wednesday, and then I think Thursday we'll do another product spotlight. I just have to decide what that might be.
Sure, yeah. As Richard mentioned, our good friend Will Busby will be back with us on Wednesday. We had the chance to bring Will in just a couple weeks ago, and Will is he's just been such a pleasure to work with. It's been a pleasure getting to know him, and it's truly been a pleasure seeing his analysis, his work thus far. And he and Richard have been working together behind the scenes to enrich this, the analysis, and as far as the value they want to bring and share with you in these sessions. So definitely very much looking forward to Wednesday and having Will back. And yeah, we'll take Will back as often as he'll have us. So just definitely something we want to continue working on. We are encouraging Will to bring something to share with you guys too. So definitely come back, join us on Wednesday. Chuck, thank you. Yes, Hal says,
Thanks,
Richard,
Chuck.
thank you for
Thanks,
the
Hal.
analysis. Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like it's kind of a quiet Monday, it seems, for a lot of people. So no big deal. Nobody has any questions. Again, we will be back on Wednesday. So outside of that, we didn't have anything really else planned for today's session outside of just getting these levels to lock and our analysis on track for the week. So if we don't have any questions come through, we'll probably just make this a short and sweet session and save all our energy for bringing Will in on Wednesday.
Yeah, sure thing. Thanks, Jackie, as well. Thank you. Always great having you guys here.
Definitely. One more shout out to anyone joining us.
Want to start off the week, but yeah, let's recap on Wednesday again, see how things pan out.
Yeah, it sounds good. Awesome. Well, yeah, one more shout out to our crew over there on YouTube. Do encourage you to check the description under this video. There will be a link where you can join us here in the VIP section directly within Zoom. So we'd love to have you here. Yeah, thank you, Hal. Have a great week. We hope to see you again on Wednesday. So yeah, until we see everybody again, just have a great rest of your week. It looks like Sanjay's just joining us. We're having a quick session today. It looks like we'll be wrapping up in just a minute here. But if you had any questions or anything for us, Sanjay, please feel free to fire away in the chat, and we'll be happy to take care of that. One other quick note, I was just letting everybody here know when we come back on Wednesday at noon for the next Profits at Noon session, our good friend Will Busby will be back in the house. So we have a very special session planned on Wednesday, as well as another tool spotlight in store on Thursday.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all so much again for your time. Do you record these to view later? Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you asked, Sanjay. The best way to do that is to head over to the Ninjacators YouTube. What we like to do is simulcast these Zoom sessions over onto the YouTube channel. So as soon as we kill the session, it then lives right on the YouTube channel as a replay. And we've also made a playlist for Profits at Noon. So if you ever need to catch up or skim through a previous session or just check those levels, yeah, we have them all grouped together there. Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you all again so much. We really hope to see you on Wednesday with our friend Will Busby back in the house. Again, my name is Nate, co-hosting these sessions with our good friend Richard Krugel here in the house. We will see you all again on Wednesday. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great week in the meantime.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Take care. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.